Hey you guys, Jordan Johnson here, back on the mend from a little COVID experience. Listen, I've listened to enough posts. I've talked to enough people. Most of you that follow me know that I am clinical. So believe me, I have a complete clinical understanding before we get into this, and I have an administrative understanding. I have a business understanding. But I've really heard about, just all these different opinions and things like that, and everybody has one. So I'll preface this with it's probably not going to be politically correct. I get the whole cancel culture thing, probably going to ruffle some feathers. It's okay, guys. You'll be okay. This isn't the worst that's happened. But I want to talk about my experience. So here's the experience. Come home last Monday. Wife has COVID, tested positive, 102 fever, 102 fever for 3 days. Then I get it on Thursday. So let's fast forward and we'll take a look at yesterday. Yesterday sucked. And that's the nicest thing I can say. But what didn't suck is the process, right? So I live here in Mississippi, probably one of the hardest hit areas. We're the lowest vaccinated rate for many reasons, failure at the local government level, at the state government level. And this isn't a political issue. This isn't a political talk. I really don't give a damn whether you're Democratic, whether you're Republican, whether you're red, whether you're blue, whether you drink coffee, whether you drink bourbon. I care more about whether you drink scotch or bourbon. But this is the issue. So fast forward to yesterday, we have to make an appointment. She's had fever for 102.4 fever for 3 days. Then I come down with it, and boom, what's the option? Monoclonal antibodies was a no-brainer for me. The process was absolutely amazing given the chaos here in Mississippi that's going on. And by the way, these shots are not fun, but it's the least of your worries when you feel like we felt. I can tell you today, you're talking to me and I feel great. The monoclonal antibodies work. Now people are going to start asking a lot of questions. Well, weren't you vaccinated? Absolutely vaccinated by choice in March. And they're like, well, see, you still got it. Absolutely. I got it. Proves the fact from a virology standpoint. Again, do your homework. Don't listen to CNN. From a virology standpoint, if you pull the titers for those people, some of those people that were vaccinated in the early stages have come down past the threshold level that's needed to prevent COVID, not the disease as a whole from getting it, but some of the more severe side effects. And that's what we had, the more severe side effects. Not uncommon. We know that it lasted 6 to 8 months. That's why there's a third shot. Some people want to call it a booster. This is really a third vaccine. But that's not really what I want to talk about, because that's not where the attention lies. Attention lies on the front lines. Guys, I'm clinical, so I'm going to say this as blunt and straightforward as I can. They were awesome. Let me tell you who's here in Mississippi. People from Ohio busting their ass that came down here. And some people are going to say, yeah, but they got paid a lot of money to come down here. Let me tell you how the scene is. It's not good here. Again, so some of the reason it's not good is by choice, but these people have given up a lot. To get these monoclonal antibodies is not an easy process. But they made the process easy. And I talked with some nurse practitioners, some nurses, guys on the front lines. There's a group of traveling paramedics that have come forward and done this, and they're doing this. And I spent a lot of time with these people. Before I got tested, or before I got the monoclonal antibodies, I had to get a positive COVID test at the local clinic. And Pizza Hut next door, listen, they're not doing this for a damn pizza party, guys. Okay, but I did buy them lunch. It's the right thing to do. um, as a radiation therapist, as a radiologic technologist, I've been through ice storms, I've worked emergencies, was involved in Katrina. I get it. So to the people, and I don't want to call them the people, asshole is probably the nicest thing to say. And guys, I don't take lightly to this, because I am front lines and I understand what everybody's dealing with, especially for our cancer patients. So I take this personal. But a lot of people say, well, they signed up for this. That's what they went to school for. They didn't sign up for people blatantly making really dumb decisions. If you get behind the wheel of a car and get drunk and driving, they didn't sign up for that. But they're still going to take care of you when you get admitted, right? Well, they're still taking care of people. Okay. And I saw people and dealt with people yesterday in tears, crying, stressed out. and not even over their families and them being in harm's way, but just people in general that have a bleeding, they have a bleeding, passionate heart, an empathetic heart for healthcare. They're like kind of like me, kind of like the people that do healthcare. We run to the problem. We don't run away from the problem. Okay. We're not doing this for a damn heroes work here sign. That's the biggest load of crap. And I talked to them about that. We all laughed about that. They're not doing that for a heroes work here or a team COVID or a COVID pizza party. They don't care about that. They genuinely care about people. It's the human touch. It's the human interaction. But guess what? They need a little help. And you know what pisses these people off a little bit? Pisses me off, should piss you off too, is when you say, man, we really feel sorry for these people. They keep hearing this over and over and over. Talking about we feel sorry for the nurses and the doctors. No, you don't feel sorry for the nurses and doctors if you're not doing anything to help prevent some of this or stop. Listen, I didn't get the shot of the monoclonal antibodies to keep me safe. I got the shot in the monoclonal antibodies, and this is by choice. But for me, yesterday is to stay out of the ER, to stay out of the ICU rooms. Dude, they're sending people home here with MIs and stroke-like symptoms that are dying at home because there's not room in the hospital. Again, say what you want to say. You signed up for this. Y'all need to make room. Somebody needs to fund this. Start taking money. Start writing checks. And then you can have, that you can protest whatever you want. Again, this isn't a pro-vax issue. This isn't an anti-vax issue. For me, this is a pro-healthcare worker. This is a pro-patient deal. And if you know something, again, there's consequences for every decision that we make. But I don't think anybody's hearing from the front lines. And that's why I wanted to get on here. I'm dealing with the people on the front lines, working with the front lines. I'm a front lines person, so I get this. Again, tough times, but yesterday was absolutely incredible seeing people from Ohio here serving here in Mississippi, and some pretty dire times. But some of the comments and things that are being made about you signed up for this, or guys, they're having to make hard decisions about where resources go. And if you don't think for one second that it is eventually going to come, if we have limited resource to where somebody has to choose between, do we treat or invest in a vaccinated or an unvaccinated person, you're crazy. It's no different than a mom. If a mom has trouble and distress going into labor, guess who we go after to save? We go after the infant and the baby first. It's just what we do. This kind of stuff is no different. And I just don't, like I said, it's politically charged now. So this is one of those, I'm going to get a lot of horrible comments on this, and that's okay. Believe me, I've had horrible comments from better. Okay. I've been disliked by better. My wife reminds me all the time, not everybody likes you. I'm 100% okay with that. What I'm not okay with is people just listening to the news and not talking to these people on the front lines, people missing out on their heart transplants because they can't get them because we don't have surgery suites. And then people wanted to say, you got to pay these people more. That's right. Where's that pay coming from? Who's writing the checks for that? Is it the government's responsibility to write those checks? Should other certain people in certain areas be taking pay cuts? Should vendors be supplementing this? I don't know the answers. Guys, if we knew all the answers, we're literally building the plane as we fly it. And I think that scares some people, but this isn't a vaccine issue. The proof of the vaccine is out there. Okay. We know what it does. We know what it doesn't do. We know what its limitations are. We know what its benefits are. Do we know what the long-term risks are? Absolutely not. Do we know what the long-term risk of being exposed to COVID are? Absolutely not. So again, there's some things that we don't know. We just have to collectively as a population make some better decisions. But I wanted y'all to hear kind of from the front lines what's going on. Again, hats off to the people at Baptist here in Jackson who took the time to take care of my wife and I yesterday. And the monoclonal antibodies, they do work. So thank y'all so much. Stay safe and lend a hand and help out where you can, because it's definitely going to take all of us. The arguing about who's right and who's wrong, not benefiting anybody. Guess what? People dying every day from this, from other things. It's emotionally and politically charged, and you've got to take that emotional and political charge out of it. Okay. And I think then we could all if we could have these conversations, it'd be better. Maybe if you saw stuff like this, maybe this will help somebody. But again, doctors, nurses, hats off to you. and what you're going through. And it was excellent to sit and, be somebody you could lean on to have a cry yesterday because, again, not doing it for a pat on the back or a hero's work, you're doing it because you run to the problem. And thanks for all that you do.